Nice. Subie. You definitely tell the wife drove this all week. You know how somebody else drives your car and you have to sort of readjust everything? That's what I'm doing now. It's one thing I wish this car had, is the feature where you could just push a button and it remembers the positions of the mirrors and the positions of the seats, things like that. But it doesn't have it, so I just have to readjust everything the way that I prefer it before I go anywhere. Okay, there we are. No, not quite. That's better. Okay. Alright guys, so today I've got a couple of errands that I've got to do, and I spent most of the morning working on my lawn, which is ever so fun, but it's a necessary evil. It looks good now. So anyway, I figured I'd make a quick video to just kind of talk to you guys for a couple of minutes and get into the habit of making videos whenever I go out about for a drive or something like that. So today I've got a couple of errands to run. Gotta go to the bank, deal with fun things there. And I gotta go to Home Depot and get something there. So figured I'd just take this opportunity to talk about a thing or two real quick. Holy crap, it is hot outside. I got the AC cranked all the way down. I'm still sweating. Ugh, gross. So it's been about a week since I've driven my car. The wife's car had to have some work done to it, and that took several days, and because of my work schedule I wasn't able to go and pick it up the day that it was complete. So I wound up driving a rental car for that time, and it feels great to be back in my own car now. Between driving her car and the rental car, it's a pretty big difference between those two, and it really feels good to be back in my Subie. It's amazing when you drive a different car for even a short time span such as a week. You really kind of get used to the ins and outs of that specific vehicle. And it's funny, it actually feels kind of strange to drive the Subaru again. And it's only been about a week since I drove it last. So it's amazing how much of a difference it can make just driving a vehicle that you're not used to for a few days and then going back to one that you are used to. Suddenly you're not used to it anymore. Oh, there goes the Subie. You know, one of the interesting things that happened to me while I was driving the other two vehicles was the fact that I saw way more Subarus than I normally see when I'm in my Subaru. It's kind of strange. A lot of times I'll see, maybe one or two, an hour, I'll say, on average. And when I was driving those other two cars, it felt like every 5 minutes I was seeing another Subaru. I don't know if it's because I was maybe specifically looking for them at the time or what, but... And now, today, of course, I am not seeing any. I saw one, actually. And, of course, if you do the Subie wave from a car that's not a Subaru, people tend to kind of get confused. Let me talk about that. Since I'm at the bank, let me talk about that. Whoa, buddy, you were out in the middle of the road. Let me go ahead and talk about that after I get out of the bank. Let me just back into my parking space here. There we are. Right. I will be back in a moment. Well, probably a lot of moments, but I will be back. Alright, and I'm back. Now to the next thing on my list. Ooh, another Subie. Alright, I'm back for reals this time. I saw a beautiful red WRX parked in the driveway, and I just had to go talk to the owner for a second. So, really nice guy, and that's one thing I absolutely love about the Subaru community, is everybody in it is so open to just talk about their cars and strike up a conversation about it, and everybody's really nice. But yeah, he's done some work to it. He's put a new intake, a cob intake on it, and he put a new downpipe on it and a couple of visual upgrades. I guess he's looking also to replace the wheels at some point. But he's got a premium red WRX, and it's just a gorgeous car. It really, really looks good in red. So I'm actually going to put a picture of it parked next to this one, but I didn't want to take a video or anything of it because I didn't really know how he would feel about that. So, but like I said, the Subaru community is full of a bunch of really great people who just love their cars and want to talk about, you know, their goals with the car, and are interested to hear about yours. It's really, really awesome. The fact that you could just approach somebody and talk to them about it, and you get positive feedback. It's really awesome. Oh, excuse me, I just ate. I'm a bit burpy apparently. That type of community isn't really something that you see all over the place, and it seems to vary somewhat, at least, on the type of car that you have. So one thing that I've noticed, at least, is with the wife's Mustang, when I'm driving around, I don't really get waves or anything like that from other Mustang drivers. Nobody really ever seems to pay attention to it or recognize it or call it out. Sometimes when you ask somebody about it, you'll get some positive feedback, but it just seems very different. It's almost like there's not really a community for it, at least not here. I'm sure that other places around the country and around the world even have tight-knit Mustang communities and that sort of thing, but here it doesn't really seem to exist, and I find that a little bit odd. I know at one point I had a 1990 Nissan 300ZX, and every time I went by somebody who had either one of those or one of the 280s or even one of the 350s at the time, because that's all it was out, I would always get people waving at me and saying hey, and want to check out the car and want to talk about the car that they drove, things like that. And I've just noticed that doesn't really seem to exist with the Mustang. So I don't know if it's just because there's so many of those out there in comparison to Subarus in general. I'm not really sure what it is, if I'm honest. All I know is that it's something that I've noticed over the last 6 months or so. Okay, it is really bright, and I need to put on my sunglasses. Oh, that's so much better. Just put this into Sport Sharp real quick here and see if I can do an acceleration as soon as the light turns. I love that so much. This car is just such a blast to drive. I've never driven anything that handles like this one does. It's just amazing to drive. So that's one thing I probably need to practice is my launches. I know practice makes perfect and all that, and because of all the research I've done about, throwing out transfer boxes and stuff from launching it properly, I tend to be overly cautious about doing it, which, I really don't want to break my car. So I tend to probably slip the clutch a little bit more and not, hammer down on the gas as much as some people do. Just because this is my daily driver, I don't want to break it. I don't want to abuse it. So when I do an acceleration, I try not to launch it. I try to get rolling first. Then once I get fully engage first gear, then I take off from there. And I found that seems to be less stressful on all the components as a whole when I'm doing an acceleration. So it's a nice Challenger over there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably not from that angle. Just roll forward a little bit here. Yeah, that's one of the cars that I was actually considering, along with the WRX. I was actually looking at a Challenger. And truth be told, when I drove the car, I absolutely loved it. What really surprised me about that car was the handling. It felt like it was a tiny car. It felt nimble. It felt very responsive. And it's a big car. I think it's around, I want to say it's around 4,100 pounds. I mean, it's a big, heavy car. But its handling just doesn't reflect that. And I found that very interesting. It was comfortable to sit in, and it had plenty of power. I test drove the Challenger RT Plus, and I thought it was a fantastic car. I really loved the car. I loved the way it looked. I loved the way it handled. What killed it for me was the dealer experience. And I know that seems kind of crazy, but that can make a big difference when you're shopping for a car, especially when you're looking in a bunch of different directions and you're not really sure what you want. The dealer experience can make a very positive or negative impact on what you purchase. In this case, the dealer was just far too pushy. They were rude, and I just didn't. I mean, they had me drive a car that dirty. It was a brand new car, and when I say dirty, I'm not just talking about spots in the paint or anything like that. I mean, it was dirty to the point where it looked like somebody had left the window down on the truck that was transporting it, and tons of mud was all over the door panel and all over the seats, and that's the car they gave me to test drive. While that's bad enough, on top of that, it was just their attitude towards the whole thing that killed it for me. So, alright, so I have arrived at my second destination on my list. I am going to run in, grab a couple things from there, and I will be back momentarily. Alright, errands complete. I know I said this already, but it is ridiculously hot outside today. And bright, hence these. Sometimes I think I'm living in the wrong area of the country, because it's always hot down here, which I hate. And it's always really bright outside, which I hate. I think I'd definitely be more suited to somewhere that has a more temperate climate. I mean, I like cold temperatures and things like that. I don't necessarily love freezing my brains out, though. If I could live somewhere where it was about 50 or so degrees Fahrenheit most of the year, I'd be happy with that. Or even 60s most of the year, I'll say. I'd be very happy with that. I'd even be alright with, living somewhere that was like 72 degrees most of the year. It's just, when it gets into the 80s and the 90s, it's too much for me. One of the big problems in Florida is the fact that it's so humid. It could be 65 degrees outside, but because of the humidity, you still completely sweat through your clothes. So yeah, because of the humidity, you sweat through your clothes no matter what temperature it is. you could be standing outside, 65-degree weather, could even be cloudy, and because of the humidity, you will completely soak through your clothes in a matter of minutes. The only time that it's ever comfortable here is when the humidity goes away a little bit during the winter, which is, if I'm honest, winter here is kind of a joke. I think this year we had, what was it, maybe 4 days where it dropped below 70 degrees. Maybe it was a week total. And other than that, I mean, there were times in January and February where it was still 85, 90 degrees outside in the middle of the day. And it was just insane. I'm not really a fan of that. It is better if you're closer to the beach because you get the sea breeze, which is nice. But currently I don't live close to the beach. I do work close to the beach, so that helps. Yeah, the weather here kind of blows. But anyways, yeah, enough of that. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video that I put together. I'm thinking that if I put out smaller videos, I can put out more of them. So, because there's less editing involved and there's less footage to actually go through and process and all that. So, I think I'm going to try making smaller videos with the exceptions of any car reviews or things that I do like that, and try and keep the videos a little bit shorter going forward. If you like this video, please leave me some feedback in the comments section, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build up my channel right now, so the more people that I have following me and liking my videos and commenting on them, the more videos I'm likely to make. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this small video that I put together. It's quicker for me to put out smaller videos because there's not as much footage to go through and not as much editing to be done, so I will be able to actually release them sooner than I would if my videos were longer. So I think I'm going to actually try keeping my videos a little bit shorter for the time being and see how that works out. And if you guys like my videos and you like this video, please leave me some feedback in the comments. Please subscribe and please like the video. And thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I will be back soon with another video. Got to put the sun shield up. Very, very important.